All right, good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Monday morning, markets open up in the green. The Nifty is doing pretty well. We're up close to around 100 points. The Nifty Bank is doing a relative underperformance. But the mid-cap index, well, that's the place where the party is still on. Even post the weekend, it's up close to around 0.8%. And you're seeing a lot of stocks that are flying off the bat. Hey, Mangala, money.
Hi, Nigel. You spoke about the party being on in the mid-cap end of things. I wonder where the party is tonight because it is your birthday. Wish you a very happy birthday.
Well, thanks, Mangala. You know, it's very good to be back at work. I've spent so many years with the leading business news channel. And COVID, you know, I missed out a couple of birthdays at work. But, you know, so to say it, I'm happy to be at work today.
Oh, that formality is okay. The big question, what happens to the big party?
It's due after this, for sure.
All right, it is due after this.
Couple of shots on you.
All right, done. Okay, we talk about those things in just a bit. But first up, all the top stories that we're tracking this Monday morning for you. A strong start to trade in favor of advances for the market. Key indices comfortably in the green. The Nifty above that 17,900 mark, inching closer to 18,000 as we speak. Markets where we have the Sensex above that 60,000 mark as well.
Mega budget Hindi movie Brahmastra on track to become a blockbuster after clocking in more than 200 crores in worldwide cross collections till day 3. This even after getting mixed reviews. Exhibitors, PPR as well as Inox, well, they bounce back in trade.
Google announces a pilot program allowing distribution of fantasy sports online rummy apps for 1 year. Gaming major Nazara Tech sees gains on the back of this. Management also tells CNBC-TV18 that skill-based gaming industry is a large opportunity.
Tata Consumer gains on reports which suggest that the Tata Group has made an offer to acquire stake in Bisleri, and the acquisition could happen at the group level or via Tata Consumer. The company refused to comment on any kind of speculation.
Well, the mid-caps, they're on fire. We have Hindustan Aeronautics, which is up 5%. Defense stocks have been doing well. The other stock which is doing well is Tata Chemicals. Remember, any sort of acquisition in the Tata Group, and we have a bunch of these stocks, all of them buzz around. And here, Tata Consumer's acquisition announcement of Bisleri, or reports of a possible acquisition, has a couple of these stocks higher as well. Shivangi Sarda now joins in for a quick technical check on the market. Shivangi, in the past, we've seen some resistance out here between 17,950 to 18,000 mark. Do you think this time around we're good enough to break out, or maybe we may consolidate here?
Good morning, Mangalam. Good morning, Nigel. Thank you for having me. And first things first, wish you a very happy birthday, Nigel, and wish you a great year ahead. The market is also cheering, you know, your birthday at higher levels. And of course, it surpassed its previous day's high. And, you know, the kind of 18,000 is a very psychological level, as, you know, pointed out, Mangalam. So, you know, we have to see the reaction over here. But overall, the chart structure is quite positive. So we are heading to 18,200 zones, but at 18,000 we might see some kind of a profit booking because of the crucial level that it is. But overall chart structure is quite positive with a support of 777. The index is going to head towards 18,200.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for the wishes, Shivangi. You know, 18,000, I feel like I'm 18 today. But give us a couple of stock trades that you have for us.
Surely. So my first pick here would be, the Tech Mahindra. So it's formed a very strong base and it's giving a breakout of its falling supply trend line on daily scale. Today it opened a gap up and follow-up buying can be seen here quite strongly. So a short covering move in this entire space would drive this series. We have a target of 1,200 levels with a stop loss of 1130 zones. The second pick would be Chambal Fertilizer, which has been consistently moving in the upward direction. If we look at the weekly chart structure, even it surpassed its previous hurdles and is taking support above its 50 DEMA. So far in this series, we've seen 7% OI addition in this September series. So the stock looks quite positive with a target of 375 and a stop loss of 350.
All right, take that point. Thanks a lot, Shivangi, for joining in, giving us your views on the index as well as individual stocks. Let's shift focus to the special segment where we get you a few ideas of profit coming in from our colleagues at Money Control Pro. Nandi Shah joins in with a stock that he's been tracking.
Today's ideas for profit is Tata Consumer Products. India beverages and foods contributes nearly 75% of revenues, and the rest comes from international operations. The results for the June quarter were in line with expectations, with higher share of profits from subsidiaries and joint ventures. Salt and tea both saw an increase in market share of 440 basis points respectively. In order to increase the direct distribution reach, TCPL plans to expand to 1.5 million outlets as compared to 1.3 million in March 22. Tata Sampann relaunched its spices range with new and improved packaging, while the dry fruit segment is scaling up well with positive reviews and higher offtakes across the e-commerce segment. Both the dry fruit and spices category have a large addressable market size and are mostly served by the unorganized players. TCPL expects to grow at a low to mid single digit levels in the international business, while in the domestic business, it is targeting a double digit growth. Out of home consumption businesses such as Nourishco and Tata Starbucks have witnessed turnaround in businesses and are likely to keep up the momentum going forward. Tea prices in North India saw an uptick due to severe rainfall, while in South India, the prices were largely range bound, while the Kenyan tea prices saw a slight decline quarter on quarter. Arabica and Robusta coffee prices continue to increase, and TCPL continues to pass on the price increase in a calibrated way. TCPL is a defensive bet, and we recommend long-term investors to accumulate and add on declines. TCPL is trading at a P multiple of 44 times FY24 earnings.
Welcome back. We've been talking about the paper stocks and the way all of them have surged anywhere between 100 to 200% in the last 12 months or so, some even more than that. And that's on account of a lot of tailwinds that the sector is currently facing. The question is whether this sustains or not and what happens going on from here. So to take this discussion forward, we have with us Pawan Khaitan, who's the leader at Quantum Paper. That stock's seen a big rally as well. And alongside that, we have Jiten Parmar of Aurum Capital as well, known for investing in cyclical companies, paper being one of them as well. Thanks a lot, Pawan and Jiten, for joining in. Before we come to you, Pawan, just a quick question on the sector as a whole, Jiten. We've been talking about a lot of tailwinds that have been taking place in the paper industry. And usually in cyclicals, what happens is that news follows the price. Now, with the big rally that we've seen in paper stocks already, how much more do you think there is in the price? What are your thoughts? And is there time for one to book profits or maybe continue to hold on in this space?
Good morning, Mangalam. Good to be back on CNBC. Yeah, this is one sector which has done really well. I think currently there are still tailwinds and this sector should do well for some time. There are some structural tailwinds also. One of the major reasons is, that if you are domestically focused for paper, there is not much capacity coming up, and the usage of paper in India is going to grow with increase in per capita. So, and with imports being restricted, this sector should do well, is what we think. At least for some, we have visibility of at least couple of quarters.
All right.
Maybe Quantum Paper management will be able to give some more insights on that.
Okay, all right, Jiten. So you believe that there is a bit of a structural tailwind that's playing out as of now, right, Jiten?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. You said let's find out from Quantum Paper. So let's get in the management. Then we have Mr. Pawan Khaitan who joins in. Hi, sir. Thanks so much for joining in here on CNBC-TV18. Well, I'm just looking at your realizations. They moved up in the first quarter, but I believe as of now, realizations are much higher. So could you quantify it? What is the price increase that we have seen, as of now in comparison to quarter one? And also, I was just looking at a note, from Centrum, and I was doing a brief, analysis about your realizations that you get in comparison to peers. It appears you're getting a little lower, realization. Could you clarify on that front as well? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. That's true. The prices clearly have shown an increasing trend in the last quarter as well as the current quarter. Current quarter has been quite dramatic because we've seen quite a anti-gravity defying kind of price rise from July onwards. We've seen almost a 5 to 8 rupee increase in July, followed by a 4 to 5 rupee in August, as well as a 5 rupee increase in the current month. So paper stocks and paper prices are clearly on the rise. And the reason for that is the single-use plastic ban which has come in, which is posing a big opportunity for the paper industry to tap. Paper is clearly a front runner to replace plastics in all kinds of packaging applications.
Right. Right. So, Mr. Khaitan, just to come in out here, it appears that prices are up by close to around 15 rupees. If I look at it, in quarter 2 in comparison to quarter 1. Is that correct?
Sure.
And if you want to comment on whether or not you're getting realizations at par with your peer set, or is it a little bit lower? Very quickly.
No, actually, they are in that region of 15 rupees a kilo price rise, and ours are better than others because of our market orientation. Us compared to our competitors, we are more market oriented, where most of our product goes into the market applications, printers, publishers, a wide variety of applications paper is sold for, as well as we are into the specialty segment, so that caters to a higher price margin and a price.
So your domestic realizations are closer to ₹1 lakh per ton right now?
Yes, that would be a selling price, which would include GST, but our net realization would be close to about 95,000 rupees per ton.
All right, take that point. And this at the first quarter was close to around 81,000. So that explains the kind of rise that we've seen. But, you said that a lot of the plastic packaging replacement is now being done by paper. I look at your product mix. Most of it is still, books, prints, and, stationery oriented. I don't see a lot of packaging related products apart from the stiffener that you have, which is for soap wrapping, and the new products that you've developed. Can you give us a sense of two things? One, what is your overall revenue mix? How much of it comes from specialty packaging paper, etc.? And secondly, where do you source your raw material from? How integrated are you?
So 15% of our mix is from the specialty segment. Currently, we do not cater too much to the single-use plastic replacement, because currently we're in the R&D stage to create those products. And as far as raw material sourcing is concerned, it's all in the vicinity of about 100 kilometers from our mill. We've had long-term serving relationships with our suppliers spanning over 4 decades. And we clearly are a front runner in accessing raw materials from the local areas. One particular raw material we use in abundance is sarkanda grass, which is growing abundantly in the government forested areas. And every year they take an auction out to remove and dispose out these materials so that auto combustion doesn't lead to forest degradation.
Okay.
So we are well placed to source all that.
All right, Mr. Gaitan, you mentioned that even in your annual report, even in your presentation. So my question to you is, you've been focusing, you have installed a couple of turbines, cost-saving measures as well. How much of that has already played out? Of the total cost-saving measures, how much of that has played out? How much of that is likely to play out? And also, you did around 22% margins in the past quarter. What is the steady state number you're looking at, say, for the remainder of this year?
So yes, a lot of our cost-cutting measures have already taken place. The backward integration project that we started and finalized and commissioned in March 21 has taken roots, and it's clearly giving benefits in terms of reduced chemical cost, reduced power and steam costs, and particularly the replacement of imported wood pulp with our own wood pulping. So that has benefited us quite substantially. And I think going forward, I look at EBITDA margins touching close to 30%, closer to that than the 22% that we've already achieved.
When?
This quarter, we are seeing quite a substantial rise because of increased price lines.
Just a quick one, 30% by when?
Well, by the year end, we should look at quarter-wise improvement, and this quarter we should target 28 plus, which should likely go up in the next 2 quarters.
And what's your current capacity utilization, and at full utilization, what's the revenue potential?
The revenue potential for the year end would be about 1,100 crores.
Okay.
And we are at full capacity utilization.
Okay, so from 830 crores, you go all the way up to 1,100 crores with 30% margins, 28% starting this quarter itself. Gentlemen, just hang in there. We just take a short break, come back.
Welcome back. Well, we have a paper discussion that's going, and let's continue with that. Jiten, coming across to you, you have got this timing of the cycle bang on. I think you made investments in JK Paper, TNPL as well. Now the problem is you got on at the right level. When do you get off? So which stocks do you believe have run ahead of themselves, which you would take some profit out there? And also, what's the pecking order from here on?
So, Nigel, wish you a very happy birthday. And on your birthday, you asked me a very difficult question. We generally do not talk about.
Don't disappoint me.
So, so we have gone, all our recommendations have been towards integrated mills and mainly sourcing from wood pulp. So there are different types of, raw raw materials and different grades of paper, So, for example, quantum is from agri residue, and what TNPL, West Coast, JK paper, they use wood pulp. So that obviously, there is a difference in quality of the paper and usage. So the key thing which we have to understand is we have to look at, companies which are integrated for their raw material. So that's what we have looked at it, and we have primarily looked at companies for whom the raw material is wood pulp, and they have good levels of integration as far as the raw material is concerned. And if you see the margins also in these companies are far higher because basically because of the tailwinds we saw in the sector.
Take that point, Jiten. Let's go back to our conversation with Mr. Khaitan. Mr. Khaitan, there are a couple of concerns as well. As you speak about the business looking good for this year, etc. For you are, what's the kind of debt that you're sitting on currently in your books? Can you tell us that?
Yes, we are sitting on about 600 crores of debt, largely because of the backward integration that we undertook 2 years back. But I'm very comfortable with this debt level because of the kind of generation of funds and cash that we are looking for the next 2 years. I'll be very comfortable paying off all these debts in the next 2 years.
You'd be comfortable, but we're not sure if the street would be comfortable with that because, market cap of close to 1,000 crores, 600 crores, the debt that you have, and almost 81% of the promoters' holding is pledged as well. Can you give us the level at which it is pledged so that, we know that there is some sort of security if the stock price holds above certain levels?
Well, yes, no doubt our 81%, but that's largely lying with the banks. And as and when I start repaying my loans, the pledge is going to come off. So I'm not concerned at all on that issue. And in fact, we are looking at preponing our repayments to the banks this year. We're going to start that because of this additional and healthy cash flow which is coming in. And I'm very confident that I'll be able to take care of all these liabilities ahead of time.
All right, Mr. Khaitan, so you're saying that you'll be debt-free and you'll be pledge-free by FY24 or FY25?
Well, certainly between 24 and 25, by let's say June 24, I should be debt-free.
Okay, debt-free and pledge-free also, you'll release the pledge as well?
Yes, of course.
Okay, all right. A few questions then. Stock price has moved just one way in the last month or so. The street is a little baffled. Even I think Jiten, who's tracking it very closely, he also must be wondering what's going on here. But I don't see any institutions that hold any stake in the company. Have you seen, you must be getting the bank post every weekend. Have you noticed any institutions buying? Point number one. And you used to pay dividend. Now you've not paid for the last couple of years. If things are looking up, you get back to dividend paying ways?
Yes, we certainly look at dividend paying status soon enough this year onwards because COVID had impacted the paper industry quite adversely. And that's the reason why we could not pay dividends. And that we are clearly coming out of that situation on a healthy and productive note. And we should be back on a dividend paying track continuously henceforth.
And who's buying?
Buying, yes.
Notable names, HNIs, who is it?
Yes, there are HNI, there are a few institutions as well. And we are looking at quite a healthy inflow of new investors coming into the scene.
This quarter's, disclosures that you will give would have names of HNIs and mutual funds holding some of your stock. Is that correct?
I certainly hope so.
Okay, and they're domestic funds or if you could give us some names, something like that?
Right now, I wouldn't be able to do that. But yes, we are certainly looking at the new investors coming in.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, Mr. Khaitan, what about this new education policy that's coming out? That will be a tailwind, right? It'll give visibility for the next few years. Do you think so?
Yes, of course. The new education policy, in addition to the digitization effort that the PM and the government is after, there's a completely new set of syllabus and a new set of textbook requirements that are going to come in.
So you're expecting also, an FY23 or 24, sir?
They should be tabled soon. Parts of it have already been tabled, and I think by September end, we should look at the table of the balance.
And final one from my end, Mr. Khaitan, last year you did an EBITDA of 120 crores, but your operating cash flow was just about 50 odd crores. So that was a bit of a concern. That's point number one. Secondly, your return on capital employed as well as your ROEs are also very low, lowest in the industry, just about 3.2%. for your ROE as well. Can you give us a sense of what is the ROE, ROC you're targeting now that all the capex is behind the company going forward? When do you reach double digits? And what happens to your operating cash flow?
So all that is going to see quite a sea change, because one is that we've also changed our income tax system. We were earlier employing the 35% income tax regime, and we've changed over to the 25% income tax regime going forward, which the government has allowed. That will reduce my tax component quite substantially, and most of the EBITDA will translate into a kind of a profit after tax as well. Okay. Nil or no tax for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So that's going to have quite a positive impact. And clearly ROCE and ROE is all going to see an upward trend.
Yeah.
All clearly in the double-digit framework.
Okay, all right. We're going to hold you to those numbers, Mr. Khaitan. Thanks so much for joining, and thank Jiten as well for stopping by. So some substance of things, Mr. Khaitan says prices are moving up. He's guiding for 1,100 crores of revenues, margins moving up as well. Jiten tells us that the sector has tailwinds. There's a bit of a structural tailwind that's playing out, and he prefers those integrated names as well. It's been a pleasure talking to you all, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, on that note, though, we'll have to wrap up on this edition of Chartbusters. Stay with us. Trading Hour comes up next.